Hi grown-ups. In this lesson, Pack for Camp, your kids and I will make a list of the things we'll need and we'll gather ingredients for a pretend campsite cookout. We'll also make a special tool called a bindle to gather things, and we'll turn a box into a treasure box. Engaging kids in list making is a great everyday way to support communication skills. After you watch, you can grab a marker and a piece of paper or download and print the checklist in your My Tinker Garden to plan for your own pretend cookout. To make a bindle, you'll need a stick and a piece of fabric like an old pillowcase, a bandana, or any fabric you've got. If you want an extra activity, decorate an old box to make it a treasure box, but really any old box will do. Then you'll be ready to head out and collect whatever ingredients you can find in your outdoor space. Have fun! We look forward to seeing how your explorers pack for camp. Hi explorers, are you ready to come to Tinker Garden?
Come to Tinker Garden, come to Tinker Garden, come to Tinker Garden.
Explorers, I am having the best time gathering treasures from the forest floor. In fact, if I gather many more treasures, I will run out of space in my hands to carry them. That makes me think of a creature who can carry treasures in its mouth. This creature has special pouches in its cheeks to carry its food back to its burrow. This special creature has stripes, a bushy tail, and scampers. Do you know which creature I mean? Could I have a clue? Now, do you know who this creature is? Yes? No? Not sure? Well, let's find out. Drum roll. It's a chipmunk.
Chipmunk, stuff your cheeks with nuts and acorns, nature treats. Chipmunk, stuff your cheeks. Come to Tinker Garden.
Chipmunks use their cheek pouches like grocery bags to help them carry food back to their burrow. A chipmunk's cheeks can stretch to be 3 times bigger than its head. Some species of chipmunks store their food all in one place, and some spread their collections out. Chipmunks are super chatty. They make high-pitched calls to warn other chipmunks of nearby predators and danger. Explorers, I can't imagine making my cheeks 3 times as big as my head. Let's try and puff out our cheeks as much as we can just to see what it might feel like. Wow. Now, I have all these treasures. I don't feel like I'm going to put them in my cheeks, but maybe I could put them in my shirt, just like this. If you have any treasures, you could try the same thing. And how about we practice scampering? Do you know how to scamper? Scampering is running and stopping, looking around, and then running again and looking around. Should we try it? Let's try it. How about we puff out our cheeks and scamper all the way to our play area like chipmunks? You ready? Okay. Explorers, we're back in our play area. I'm gonna put my treasures down. And I wonder how we're gonna play today. This is not our usual invitation. This is a very special invitation. You're invited. Megan and explorers join in the Tinker Garden Great Campout. Well, explorers, that sounds wonderful. I love to camp out. I could camp out in the woods like this or in a campsite. Sometimes I even just camp out in my backyard or even in the living room. What a wonderful thing. I wonder how we could get started to get ready for such a special event. It's our invitation to play. Maybe that will help us think of what to do next. Let's see what's inside. A big strong stick. Ooh, pillowcase. A list. Ooh. How can you gather the things you need for a pretend campsite cookout? Explorers, of course. Cooking out and eating delicious food is a big part of camping out. I bet that's our first step to get ready for the great camp out, to have a pretend campsite cookout. How are we going to think about what we need to bring and gather it? Well, one thing I love to do when I have to prepare for things like cookouts or trips or camping is make a list. Maybe we could use this list, our campsite cookout packing list. Oh, and we already have so many of the things on the list. I have a stick, which I could use to make a pretend campfire or to stir our dishes. I've got a leaf. I've got stones. We could use that to make a ring of safety around our fire. And you need nature treasures like these right here. But we're gonna need a lot more than one of each thing if we're gonna have a whole cookout. I wonder what I could use to store all the things that we need to gather so they're ready for our cookout. I have an idea. I could use my treasure box. Want to see it? Okay. This is my very special treasure box. I just took an old box and I glued treasures like sticks and moss and leaves on the outside to turn it into an even more special treasure box. You can do that with a box at home or just use any container you have. We could use this for everything we collect and we'll be ready for our cookout. But now that I think about it, it's going to be really hard to carry this big box everywhere. I wonder if I could think of a tool that I could bring with me to gather things and bring them back to the treasure box. And that makes me think about a chipmunk. I wish I had chipmunk cheeks. My pockets are not big enough for all the things I need. But you know what we could do? We could make ourselves a tool, like a bindle. Let me show you how to make a bindle. So to make a bindle, you're gonna want to get a really strong stick and then some fabric so you can make something to hang on your stick that can collect all the treasures you gather. Now, this looks to me like, yep, this is a pillowcase. So you can use an old pillowcase if you have one lying around at home, or you could use any piece of fabric, like a bandana or any fabric that your grown-up says you can use and cut up at home. Now, if you do have a pillowcase like mine, one of the easiest ways to make a bindle is to take the bottom part of the pillowcase, which feels like a sack, not the open end. And you can take scissors or get a grown-up's help and cut that half of the pillowcase right off. Let's give it a try. Look at that. Now, you want to save this half of the pillowcase to make wind flags or all sorts of things. You might even be able to use it for a second bindle just by cutting it up and tying knots. But if you've used your pillowcase, you've got a nice little sack for your treasures to hang, and you can cut a short slit on either end. On that side, flip it over, cut a little slit, maybe for the grown-ups about 4 to 6 inches. And now I've got a sack, but it's got pieces that I can tie around my stick. And if ever those pieces aren't big enough, I can just gently tug to make them bigger. So once I've got my sack with my slit, I can take one end and tie it to the very tip of my strong stick. And this is where grown-ups or a big friend's help is really great. And I think tying 2 knots really helps too, because treasures can get heavy. So I've got one knot tied to my stick, and then I can take the other side and tie a knot where that fits on my stick. 1 knot and 2 to make it nice and strong. Oops. There we go. There we are. Now, with my 2 knots tied, I have an inside of my bindle where I can put treasures, and I'm gonna practice. So if I were picking up this pine cone, I could put it right inside my bindle. I could put my acorn, my stick, my stone, and my leaf. And look what I can do. I can put it over my shoulder, so as I walk along, my treasures follow behind me. Would you like to take our bindle and go find treasures? We're gonna need so many for our cookout. Let's go. Explorers, I found so many treasures for the pretend cookout. I'm gonna untie my bindle and dump my treasures on the table so we can see. All right, let's see. Oh, so many ingredients. All right, ready? Woo! I'll put my bindle over here and then wow, so many treasures. I'm gonna sort them into groups so I can make sure to cross the things I need off my list. Let's see. Oh, so many leaves, pine cones, nature treasures, sticks. Oh, this is wonderful. And what a beautiful fern. There's so many things I can imagine cooking with such a beautiful fern. Well, let's see. Maybe I'll start by just picking my sticks out because they are easy to spot. So many sticks. I'll put them into my treasure box. That's gonna make great pretend firewood and stirring. I'm gonna cross sticks off my list. Oh, I can put all the leaves in next. So many leaves. I can imagine the things I can make with these leaves. I could make a salad, or I could make tacos. Use the leaves as my tortillas. Maybe I'll put the fern in with the leaves too. Now I can check leaves off my list. And look at these beautiful stones I found. So many stones. Might be fun to hear them fall into my treasure box. And nature treasures. So many nature treasures, especially these wonderful pine cones that can be so many things. So many decorations for maybe my mud pie. I can decorate with pine cones. Now, I have one spot on my list that I haven't filled yet. I wonder what else I could bring to my pretend cookout. You know what I love to do at cookouts and parties? I love music. To play instruments or sing along. I know what we could do. Where did I put that? Here it is. I could bring my housefly guitar with me to make some music while my pretend dishes are cooking. Now, while I get just a few more things for my cookout, let's see how other explorers are gathering and getting ready for their cookouts. These explorers are collecting nature treasures in bindles that they made. This explorer is being careful to put only things that they find on the ground into their bindle. What a great way to preserve things that are still growing. They make their way to their favorite secret grove, where they always find great treasures and fill their bundle there. Look at the surprise guest they meet. Hey friend, want to come to a campout? These explorers are collecting treasures around their yard. Where they live, lots of leaves have fallen from the trees. This explorer knows what's just right for their bindle, and this explorer takes a peek under some bushes to see what they might find. They take a break to see what they had collected so far, but don't see any treasures, until this explorer discovers something.
No, but look, a sneaky little corner here, look.
Look at that bounty. These explorers are packing up other special things they want to have at their campout. These explorers are in a different place, in the woods and in a homemade house. They're packing different things, but they're both making sure to pack the things that are special and important to them. They both have lists to use while they pack to make sure they don't forget anything.
Chipmunk. Put my blanket. Flashlight. First aid Yes.
Bye, explorers. Happy camping. These explorers have constructed sleds and wagons to help them transport all the treasures for their campout. This explorer covered a lot of ground looking for treasures, so it's a good thing they had their sled to help. They wanted all colors of treasure, so they collected some dark gray rocks and white and yellow flowers, then green grass, and unexpectedly had a caterpillar friend hitch a ride, too. This explorer and their family constructed a cardboard sled that they could wear, so they had their hands free to collect things. They started off with a favorite toy truck in the sled, and then they did find a nice flat rock they wanted. But really what they were interested in was the sound that sled was making along the wet grass. Walking and stopping, they could really notice the difference in the sound. You never know what might captivate you when you play and explore outside. I am so inspired by how those explorers played. Thank you, explorers, and thank you, chipmunks. This was Lesson 7, Pack for Camp. Our invitation to play was how can you gather the things you need for a pretend campsite cookout? And now it's your turn. I can't wait to see how you play. Before we go, let's count to 3 and shout, "Let's play." Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's play!
Come to Tinker Garden.